So today we're going to chat about one of my favorite topics, and that is mobile home parks. And I'm going to talk about the 7 easiest ways to raise the cash flow and the value of a mobile home park. But before I jump into today's show, if you want a cheat sheet on how to look for the right mobile home parks, or you're interested in working with me in some of my parks, you can check that out at nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/MHP. That's nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/MHP. All right, so let's chat about the 7 easiest ways to increase the cash flow and the value of your mobile home park. Now, the way to look at a mobile home park is more like a business and not like a piece of real estate. So sure, mobile home parks are real estate, the land, the dirts, right? We want to own the parking lot, but the way that you run that mobile home park really is going to determine the cash flow and the value of that park. Why? Because, well, number one is that the more the park is worth, the more likely a bank is going to lend on it. So you'll be able to refinance that park, or the more it will be worth to a future buyer who says, wow, this thing is ready to go. It requires no work. It's a cash machine. I'm willing to give you money for that park. Or if you decide to keep it, well, heck, who doesn't like cash coming in month after month after month after month, right? So all 3 of those scenarios is you want to buy the asset, you want to manage the asset well, you want to increase cash flow, you want to reduce expenses, you want it to look great, and you either want to hold it for the long term, refinance it, or sell it at the end of this journey. All right, so the number 1 way to raise the value of a mobile home park after you buy it is, number 1, raising rents. So you will find that mom and pop owners who own a mobile home park typically have a dysfunctional relationships with their tenants, where they treat this more like a hobby, or they're subsidizing the rents of the tenants so that they don't have any conflict, right? And because of that, usually they let the park kind of start to deteriorate over time. And so rents that are at market, I never advise gouging tenants, but you got to keep your rents at market, are a park that can afford to pay its bills, right? You got to keep the lights on. And so you got to raise rent. So one of the first things that we do when we buy a park is, we recently bought a park that had $200 lot rents, and we saw that market was around, I think they were like $550. Is I recommend raising those rents slowly over time, right? So we'll come in and immediately day 1, we will do, hey, here's the new rental address, or here's how you pay your rent online. That's the first thing. And the second thing, here is your new rent amount, which takes place in 90 days. And so tenants usually expect that when there's a change in ownership. And so that's one thing, an easiest way to do that. Okay, number 2 is, once you buy a park, one of the easiest ways to increase the value is you will find that some parks have vacant homes that the seller has given you. And because the seller does not understand that you should sell the homes and rent the land instead of just renting the homes, they have various homes that are kind of in a state of disrepair, or they just look nasty. And so our first thing is we're going to come in, we're going to paint the outsides. We're going to paint all the outsides of them all. And you want to vary those colors, right? You don't want it to make it look like a sterile hospital, right? So you'll pick 4 or 5 different color patterns and just paint them. Let's just pretend like you got 6 park-owned homes. Just paint them so they look really, really, really nice. Some of them have hitches. You want to cut off those hitches. You want to put on some nice shutters on the outside, paint the trim. You don't want an ounce of dirt anywhere. Put on some curtains on the inside. Hey, and for $2,000, $3,000, you got a good looking home on the outside. Okay. The next step that you want to do is clean out the inside of those homes and make sure that they are spotless on the inside. They don't need to be updated or anything like that. You want to put fire alarms on the inside. And for me, if at all possible, if it's safe and now clean, right, you want to sell those homes for very cheaply to the now owner occupants, right? So you put those on, we put them on Facebook Marketplace, we put them on Craigslist, and we can sell a house to people who now want to buy their own home and rent the pad and fill those as fast as possible. If you do that the right way, you should be able to fill them relatively quickly. And so now you're out of the house rental business, now into the parking lot / mobile home business. Very, very important. And that's a great way to increase cash flow. So if you've got 7 homes, and you can sell them all in, I don't know, 90 days. And you've got your space rent is $400. Hey, you've just increased your cash flow, what, $2,800, $3,000? Boom, 7 months. I'm sorry, a few months. All right, next. You want to, number 3 is clean the park. So you want to enforce rules at your park. There's a good chance that the previous owner was not enforcing the rules. He didn't want conflict. And so you want to allow no trash on the outside of these parks. You want them looking crisp. And so the day one, we also give people the new rules. And usually it's 90 days, sometimes up to 6 months for those new rules to take effect. But if the old owner had rules, then you can enforce those. But we get dumpsters at the park, and we have everyone throw their stuff in outside into the dumpster and tell them it's going to be a requirement for them to stay in the park. Okay, get that really, 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 really clean. And you want to enforce those rules. Now, here is the great thing. Okay, this is what I love about this. Once you start doing this, you're forcing everyone to clean their outside of their homes, right? And now you take kind of like the banged up park-owned homes that were owned by the park, and now you paint them and put shutters on them. And by the way, we put new skirting on them. And, you know, you put curtains on the outside. I mean, they're starting to look crisp. They look really, really, really good. Now and then you bring dumpsters in and have everybody throw all their trash in, right? Now the people who live there start to feel uncomfortable in the filth that they were living in, right? So you start to look around, you see all these nice houses, and now people are like, wow, yeah, this is my neighborhood. I want to take care of it. So now everyone starts taking care of their own home. Not everybody, but many people start taking care of their own homes. They start painting them and putting landscaping out and, you know, taking pride in where they live. And this is huge. It's like this momentum machine that really starts to take over. So once that is done and you've got the vacant home filled, you've raised rents, you are enforcing rules, you are having other people paint their houses, and it's looking great, right? My next step that I would do is you need to spruce up the front of the park, right? So either you want a new fence, a new sign, maybe a light over there, and have it look great. So now your place is going to attract a better quality of homeowner. Okay, so once that is done, you now want to start advertising those vacant spaces. So we fill spaces 2 ways. Number 1, we can bring in a new home. Number 2, we can bring in a used home and paint it and clean it and do all the other things. Or 3, we can get someone to bring their own home into the park, which is hard to do, but we love it because there's no time and expense associated with that. So you got to fill those vacant pads, which is more work than obviously doing something that's already existing. Okay, 5 is you bill back the utilities, right? So a lot of times we have water, sewer, trash. What we then now is we bill that back to the tenants and have them pay their own water, sewer, trash, electricity. And now you start to get that back. And now the tenants, even better, they start to conserve. All right. Number 6 or 7, okay, I'm not going to be exact here, is now that once the curb appeal is up to snuff, right? You got a new fence on the outside, maybe got a little landscaping, got a nice little pretty sign. All of the, homes are starting to really come together. What's going to happen is you are going to have people who are like getting with the program and we're like, yes, like I love this place. And then you're going to get other people who are like just bitter. And they're like, I want things to be like they used to be, right? I want to live in filth and I would have rather paid $200 a month and I'd like to see the property deteriorate. They will not get off that train. You are now going to have some turnover of people who just don't want to live there anymore, right? And so for those people, we are going to give cash for keys. We'll negotiate for them to move on. Hopefully we can buy their home. And now we spruce it up just like we did some of those vacant homes, and we resell it. And so now there's some tenants turnover, right? And so now we get a new level of tenant in there, right? New people, better people, people who would really appreciate the opportunity. And now you can bump rents even more. And now the community gets a reputation of being clean, okay? Safe, a place that they can afford to live at a very, very, very reasonable price. And so over a period of 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, now you've got the place fully occupied, rents are at market, you're consistently just raising them every year, nothing crazy, right? You're billing back for utilities, you got a manager who's trained, you got a park that maybe we bought for $1 million, right? Hey, now we get to sell it for 2.5, 3, maybe 4 million, 5, 6 years later. And that's how you increase the value of a mobile home park and the cash flow. So I'll review these. Maybe I said 6 or 7, excuse me. Number 1, raise rents. Number 2, paint and clean up those vacant homes immediately, then sell them. 3, clean the park, enforce the rules. 4, you want to fill vacant pads with either new homes or used homes, or have people bring their own homes in. It's preferably people are bringing their own homes in, but that's not that easy to do. But you do get it, which is awesome. You build back utilities. You spruce up the front with new fencing and lights and a sign. And then you are going to have some turnover on tenants, fix their homes up, resell them, and gradually start to upgrade your park in every single way possible, increasing those rents, decreasing expenses. And man, now you've got a cash cow on your hands. So I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you want to know more about investing in mobile home parks, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/MHP. nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/MHP. Talk to you soon.